Hi, my name is DiRenzo, and this is my audience. So this is my boyfriend Alex and my sister Olivia. This is our second speech. It is the informative speech. So, when you litter or see someone else litter, do you know where that trash ends up? When you throw plastic in the trash bin instead of the recycling bin, do you know where that ends up? Did you know that all of this plastic that we don't dispose of properly ends up in the oceans? In 2010, 2.5 billion metric tons of solid waste was produced all around the world. 275 million metric tons of that total was plastic waste. In that same year, 8 million metric tons of the plastic waste ended up in the ocean. As time goes on, plastic will obviously continue to accumulate in the oceans. If we don't step up and try to fix this now, then by the year of 2050, there will be more plastic in the oceans than there are fish. So you might be wondering, how does plastic end up in the oceans? So there are a few ways. 80% of the time, it could be by throwing it in the trash bin. Once you throw it in the trash bin, it ends up in a landfill, and it's so light that it could just blow away easily and end up in the oceans or on the street or anywhere. Second way is littering. So the rainwater and wind will carry it to streams or drains, which will eventually, one way or another, get to the oceans. And the third way is products that go down the drain. So when you flush something down the toilet or wash something, there are these little microfibers that come off of either like clothes or like anything you flush down. So they're like these little tiny plastic, they're kind of like plastic beads. So they're like smaller than your fingernail, and they'll end up in the ocean. And they're big enough for some fish to choke on and eat and all that. And 20% of the time it's by ocean-based sources. So things like sailors throwing trash over, like plastic or anything like that. There are plastic nets, fishing gear, the bait plastic, and like the bobber thing. Like they can all throw that over, and the fish can mistake it for food and obviously eat it. So we know that plastic can end up in the ocean. So how does it affect water life and all the little marine animals? So all the numbers are different anywhere you look. So because obviously it's always changing. So plastic is found in about 59% of seabirds, 100% of turtle species, and found in just about all other fish species. Animals will ingest it, obviously thinking it's food, because they don't know right or wrong, and they don't know what it is. So fish in the North Pacific ingest about 12,000 to 24,000 tons of plastic waste a year. So once they eat that plastic, it'll obviously move up the food chain. So they eat it, and then an animal that preys on them will eat it, and then the cycle will just continue. So another way it can affect the water life is because the plastic can debris and kill the fish. So it'll kill and injure the fish. The debris will injure and kill the fish, sorry. So the fish, seabirds, marine animals. An example is the sea turtles. They mistake it for food because, again, they don't know what's food and they don't know what's not. So they will choke on it and they will get internal injuries, and then they will die. Or they will starve because plastic reduces the storage volume of the stomach, which leads to starvation. So they will eat it and they won't realize that they're still hungry because it makes them feel full, but they actually have no food, which will lead to them dying of starvation. So one thing that kind of ties in with this, with all the plastic in the water and the ocean, is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. So it's a current that collects all the plastic debris. So it's estimated to be 2 times the size of France, and it's in the North Pacific. It is the largest accumulation of plastic waste in the world, and it is located between California and Hawaii. And it's the biggest out of the 5 garbage patches. So I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. So here it is. So this is it next to the United States and Mexico and Canada. So here it is right here. It's the big red thing. So here's Hawaii, that tiny little dot. And then here's like the coast of California and all that. So as you can see, it's like 15 times the size of Hawaii. So we can move it. And I'll just move it like over to the United States just to see about how big it is. And we can see that it takes a big portion. So if we compare it to the United States, I'd say it's about like a third or a fourth of the size. It's very big. So we can see that it is easily 2 times the size of France. Oh, scratch. Oh my god. So now that we've talked about that, let's talk about how the plastic affects us humans. So humans can drink the contaminated water, and inside the water there's pesticides, lead, mercury, cadmium, and other types of substances can be found in there. And these toxins will enter the body, and they can cause like a variety of issues, such as hormonal problems, reproductive problems, nervous system damage, kidney damage, and exposure to mercury specifically. It can cause like Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, and heart disease. And another thing that can affect us is the BPA found in the plastic bottles and the plastic food containers. So the BPA will break down over time, and the polymer chains will break down. And so once they break down, they can enter the human body either through like the contaminated water or like eating fish that were exposed to it. So the plastic in the oceans not only affects us, but not only affects the water life, but also affects us. So in conclusion, if we want to save our oceans, then we need to do something now. If we don't do anything, then we could possibly be facing up to 250 million metric tons of plastic in the oceans in less than 10 years. There are like a number of organizations that work on this issue. So like obviously donating to them helps, but also like the solution also begins with each one of us individually. So we can do simple things such as like picking up garbage on the side of the road. Don't litter, put plastic in the right bin, and just doing those simple things. It'll help a lot. So if we do these little things, then we can eliminate a good amount of plastic from the oceans. So that was it. Thank you for listening.